In this video, I will provide you with a couple of ideas that you can use to make square or horizontal type lattice instead of diagonal lattice. A lot of diagonal lattice you can get at your local home improvement centers and lumber yards, but this stuff is a little harder to find, and sometimes you might want to make it a little stronger. Some of that stuff that you get at the lumber yards or home improvement centers, it's some pretty thin and flimsy stuff. And I'm going to be kind by using the word stuff there. So in this first part of the video, I'm going to make a lattice panel that's going to be spaced 5 inches apart in both directions. And in order to make things easier, I went and changed the color of all of the boards, and we have 5 of them, 2 at the top and then 3 in the middle here. And these are the boards that you're going to need to lay out the spacing that you desire. So it doesn't need to be 5 inches, can be smaller, can be longer. You just need to figure out which type of spacing you're going to want for your panel. So 5 inches apart, spaced in both directions. Go ahead and remove it to give you an idea here. So these boards are all marked. Not too difficult. 5 inches. Now, if you're going to stain this, you're going to make something you're going to stain, you might want to do this a little different, because if you put pencil marks all over this stuff, it's not going to look good. So here we are. We're going to start with this type of design. We're going to make sure that it's square, and you can use a piece of plywood, piece of OSB to line everything up, or use a framing square for that also. So everything's marked out. We can see where it's going to go here. The next step will be to lay all of these out in here in this section, and just you can slide them underneath everything. Not going to be difficult. And then I like to staple everything together with a pneumatic stapler. So you can staple it all, you can lay it all out, staple it all together. You know, to me, I think it'd be easier to build this panel first and then make sure this is all stapled together, and then staple all of these slats here, or lattice pieces, and then come in and install these here. So it just seems like that would be simple. And again, these panels can be any size you want. You know, if you have a panel that needs to be 5 foot, you can simply divide it up to where the lattice pieces are all equally spaced. You don't have to just go with a fixed measurement. And I hope that makes sense. Not too difficult. So this one here is 5 inches from one side to the other side, 5 inches from this side to this side laid out. Or you can create your own design. Here we have lattice that is 1.5 inches wide, 3/4 of an inch thick, and it is 3 inches from one side to the other side. These boards here are 7 inches from one side to the other side. So lay it out however you want, but this is a relatively easy way to make horizontal lattice, and of course make it a little heavier duty than you can get in most stores. And that is kind of what it seems like we're getting stuck with nowadays. I go down to these big home improvement centers and they only have 5 or 6 things anymore. It's getting to be a joke, and it's our own fault for letting that happen as consumers. But that's the way it is, and this is something you're going to be able to do something about. You go down to your home improvement center and they don't have something made out of wood that you want, then you make it yourself. Next up on our list, I will provide you with something I did years ago, and that was create some sort of a template that could be used to create a lot of these panels. I think we had about 600 handrails, guardrails to replace, and they wanted horizontal lattice And of course, if I was to buy 4-foot sheets of this stuff, it would have really been, I would have had a lot of waste. So I ended up making my own. But in this example here, I'm going to use a 4-foot by 8-foot piece of OSB. And we're going to draw a bunch of lines 1.5 inches apart all the way across. And then it wouldn't be a bad idea to color these in somehow so that it doesn't get confusing. I'm not saying you need to get some paint out and paint each one of them. So I've actually just took a crayon or a pencil and just drew a squiggly line all the way down, something like that, anything, so that you don't get confused when you're building your template. And of course you will need to draw 1.5-inch lines the other way. Now we got one heck of a checkerboard in here, a chessboard it looks like, but I think you're going to be getting a nice clear picture after we color in every little spot here. So our lattice boards are going to be running in this direction and in this direction. But we are going to attach a few little square guide pieces. And I would recommend making these a little shorter. They don't need to be. If your lattice is 1.5 inches and it's perfect, you're never going to have a problem, great. But wouldn't be a bad idea to cut your blocks about 1/8 of an inch shorter in overall length. So if we have 1.5 inches here, maybe 1 3/8, even 1 inch and 7/16, something like that, anything. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem putting the lattice in the pieces that are going to be wider. So you're just simply going to machine gun a bunch of these little guys in here. And of course, we will need them running in the other direction. And these, I'm spaced them about 2 foot on center. 2 foot in this direction, 2 foot on our 4-foot piece of OSB, and then 2 foot in this direction. You might be able to, instead of running, what did I run? 3 rows down the center here. You might be able to get away with 2 equally spaced. I'll leave that up to you. Again, you might want to put more in here. Depends on how accurate you want your lattice panels to be. Then you can simply lay each one of the lattice pieces out all the way across the board there. Just kind of give you an idea of what it would look like without the template. And you can see here where the pieces need to be a little taller. So if you're going to be putting together, I think here I have 3/8 of an inch panels, lattice. And so I made these 3/4 of an inch. You know, if you make them the same height as your panel, you're not going to be able to slide the next ones in this direction, which should make a lot more sense looking at this. So this is a kind of a neat idea to use, and you can use it for, I'm sure, creating a lot of different types of templates. But you can see here where all of these boards that are running in this direction are sitting down in the slots, in between the slots up here, and then these here are fitting in between the slots of the boards running in the opposite direction. So again, hopefully this makes sense. I know it's difficult. I try and put as much information in my videos as I possibly can, and then have people tell me that I spend too much time on the videos. Tough toogly woogs. I'm going to keep making my videos the way I want to make them. Enough babbling. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. Just kind of whip around. And this is just kind of a staple I drew, a quarter inch wide staple, but you can use whatever you want. Finished nails, use whatever you feel comfortable with. I liked using a 1/4 inch crown staple, and of course a little bit smaller than the desired width of the 2 pieces of lattice I was going to be attaching together. And I've actually seen people staple them all on this side and then flip it over and staple the other side to make it even stronger. Let's go ahead and take the sawhorses away in the template, give you an idea what this looks like, and that of course is the end of the video. So make your own templates if you want to, if you have more than a few that you're going to be putting together, or you know, you could even make your templates. You got some scrap plywood, make some templates and nail your boards. You only have 1 or 2 of these you got to make. Use the first method suggested in the video. Mass production, something like this might be a good way to get you started, at least going in the right direction.